Hi, this is Shelby Mattingly, Language Arts Methodology Final Part 1. I'll go ahead and start with the first question. How can we engage the mind? And I would definitely say we can engage the mind in several ways. But in a nutshell, by designing strategies and activities that involve critical thinking, problem solving, and overall just active hands-on experiences. My personal philosophy of education is more of a constructivist one, in that I believe students learn most when they are given opportunities and experiences to construct their knowledge using their senses. So sight, touch, smell, hear, taste, all of those, when those are stimulated, their brain is engaged and they are actively learning. And so that's up to us as teachers to use our creative juices to come up with lessons that involve those sorts of activities. As far as language arts goes, I am a big advocate for teaching language arts through all subjects without reading and writing, and I know there are other parts to language arts, visuals, listening, talking, all of that good stuff, and those are important as well. But for me, it's mostly reading and writing that we need to be focusing on, because without those two aspects of language arts, students can't really learn in any other content area either. So if you give a student a math problem, even if they know how to do the math problem, if they can't read the prompt or the word problem associated with that, then they won't be able to solve the math portion and show what they've learned in that content area. So writing is the same way. It's a way that we, even with technology, writing is still used via computer, and it's just a way that we communicate ideas. And if students don't know how to do that effectively, then they won't be as successful in life. So that's really a big burden, but it's a good burden to put on our shoulders as teachers to teach those two things. And as far as language arts go, based on those two things, I really like the idea of doing literature focus units and literature circles in my classroom on a regular basis. Taking a piece of literature, whether it be a storybook, a poem, an excerpt from an article, or a real full article, and from that stemming various subject areas, different concepts and ideas, all intertwining, coming back to this book. I think that that's the most exciting way to learn, to realize that what you're learning from this book can connect with what you learned in history class or in science class or whatever you're doing, even health or PE. Those sorts of things are really important for students to experience, because it's important for them to know that all of these different subjects that they're learning all connect together. And so I think that's really important. As far as literature circles go, I love the fact that students can discuss, and it's really for them and less of you to lead the discussion, but more for them to talk amongst each other and hear each other's ideas and realize that, oh, well, John may have a different viewpoint than me, but I'm still going to respect what he has to say, because that's the real world and not everyone thinks the same way. So that's also a great teaching moment. And you're talking over a piece of literature, which is great from a language arts standpoint, getting that reading and writing aspect in, as well as the talking and listening of language arts, which is really important, are really important skills for students to develop as well as they grow older. I feel that making learning applicable to students' lives more than anything is something that we can do to engage the mind and is the most beneficial for students. I know that when I was a student, it was almost always happened in math class, because math is not my thing and I couldn't care less about it. But if I were learning how to do an algebra problem, I would sit there and think, what in the world does this have to do with my life, and how can I use it? And if my teacher didn't explain that to me, I just zoned out and didn't want to be there, didn't want to focus on the problem or what I was learning. So it's important for us as teachers to make the learning applicable and to tell students how it applies to their life, because that's when they'll truly be interested and excited about what they're learning and when their mind will be truly engaged. As far as the new to old classroom model goes, I am definitely a big fan of what's coming soon, the future of teaching, I guess, and I've already seen it a lot, more in the upper grades, 4th and 5th, in my observations, but it's less teacher directed and more student directed, which is awesome, because in the old traditional model, it was the teacher standing up in front of the classroom, students taking notes, students trying to keep up, and that was really all that they did. And for those linguistic learners, it was great, but for the kinesthetic, the musical, the naturalistic, all of those learners, they weren't being targeted, and so all of that potential was just really wasted in the classroom. And so I think now, through this new model, it's 10% teacher, 90% student. I think that we as teachers, our job, it's still a big job, but it involves setting high expectations and really just setting the stage and giving students the tools that they need to be successful when they do those projects. So how to be proactive, how to prioritize, how to goal set, all of those good things, and really just to wrap it up, how to collaborate with other students, because if they can't do that, then all of this will be a waste. When you go out into the real world, you have to know how to work with others. So through these hands-on experiences, just how are they going to be proactive themselves in learning? How are they going to work with others? How are they going to share ideas, communicate those ideas, and all that good stuff. So, running out of storage on my iPad here, so I'll wrap it up. But basically, I believe that language arts is an extremely important aspect of learning, and without it, learning could not happen. So I've really enjoyed this class, and thank you for all that you've taught me. I guess that about does it. So thank you.